fingernails and toenails were painted hot to trot red. To her mind, she looked darned good.
I'm still not taking you into a sex shop.
You heard of Desperate Housewives, boy? She still called him boy, even though he was close to 30 now. Compared to her, Moses was a boy.
How about desperate nonagenarians?
No.
What?
A person what's 90-something. I heard that word on that new cable TV show, Sex After 70.
You're making that up, aren't you? Never mind. You about froze my brain with that picture. And I'm still not taking you into a sex shop. Are you blushing?
On tippy toes, she peered closer at her nephew. Once the baddest boy on the bayou before he married. Still was, truth to tell.
Of course I'm blushing. Is that why you wanted me to bring you to Nolans today? Talk about.
No, I told you. I want to go to the Voodoo Palace. Not that I believe in voodoo, but the shop carries some herbs I ain't been able to find anywhere else. Tante Lulu was a traiteur, or folk healer. Had been all her life, and a good one, if she did say so herself.
It's at the end of this block.
T. John grabbed her by the upper arm and practically frog-marched her down the street a ways.
Stop pushing me. I was just kidding about going in the sex shop, for goodness sake.
Then she noticed something interesting and stopped in her tracks.
What's that?
That was the great thing about Nolans. There was always something interesting going on. Before them was a grungy-looking storefront with the windows blacked out. The sign read St. Christopher's House of Refuge.
It's a homeless shelter or a soup kitchen or something,
he said, attempting to tug her along. She dug in her feet. St. Jude, patron of hopeless causes, was her favorite saint. But she'd like to know what St. Christopher was up to as well.
Let's go in.
That's when Tante Lulu got a big shock. She'd lived in southern Louisiana all her life. She knew the seedy side of the Big Easy. Even though her bayou region wasn't hit as hard as the city. She'd seen the news coverage of Hurricane Katrina and all its devastation. What she hadn't known was that years later, people were still suffering. Terribly. That just dilled her pickle. Was she really that insulated in her cozy bayou home? Bayou Black was only an hour away from the Crescent City, but apparently worlds away. For the next hour, she and T. John walked around the place, both of them shaking their heads with dismay. It was a huge room, like a warehouse, with a mural of New Orleans before the Civil War adorning the walls. She recalled then that this had been an opera house in the 1800s. There was a cafeteria-style meal service to the left, where folks were lined up for breakfast, it being barely 9 a.m. After filling their trays, they sat down at long folding tables. At one end were a series of ladies' and men's rooms and showers for each of the sexes. Desks had been set up at the far side, where social service people were advising folks on what benefits they could get, not much, and job opportunities, very little. Racks of used clothing and blankets occupied another area, along with giant bowls filled with hotel-sized personal products, like toothpaste, soap, and shampoo, probably donated by traveling businessmen. She'd have to mention this to her niece, Charmaine, who owned a bunch of beauty salons. Charmaine, a self-proclaimed bimbo who was once Miss Louisiana, before she married the hottest cowboy to put his tushy on a horse, probably had lots of this kind of stuff she could donate. Poor people didn't care if they were using last year's samples.